Alcatraz. A name synonymous with maximum security. Perched on a desolate island, 1.25 miles from the bustling shores of San Francisco, it was more than just a prison, it was a fortress, designed to be utterly escape-proof. Opened in 1934, the Rock held America's most dangerous and notorious criminals, a place where hope itself seemed to drown in the frigid, treacherous currents of the bay. No one ever truly escaped Alcatraz. Or so the world believed. Until one stormy night in 1962, when 3 men vanished into the impossible. Their fate remains one of history's most compelling, unsolved mysteries. Were they swallowed by the sea, or did they achieve the impossible? At the heart of this audacious plan were 3 men: Frank Morris, a career criminal known for his cunning intellect and previous escape attempts, considered the mastermind. And the Anglin brothers, John and Clarence, bank robbers with a history of similar federal offenses. They were not ordinary prisoners, they possessed a particular brand of resourcefulness, perhaps even audacity, that would fuel their desperate bid for freedom. Their lives, a tapestry of petty crimes and daring heists, were about to converge on a single, impossible objective: breaking out of the Rock. Morris arrived at Alcatraz in 1960, a transfer from Atlanta. His reputation preceded him. Almost immediately, he was placed in a cell adjacent to the Anglin brothers. A twist of fate? Or a calculated move by the prison system, perhaps unaware of the unique combination of minds they had inadvertently brought together? Here, within these seemingly impenetrable walls, a quiet understanding began to form. A shared desire for freedom, and the belief that even the Rock might have a hidden weakness, waiting to be exploited. A spark ignited in the shadows of their cells. The inmates' initial discovery was deceptively simple, yet utterly profound. Behind their cells, unseen by guards, lay a narrow utility corridor. Access? A small, rusted air vent. Each cell had one. A flaw in the design? Or merely an oversight in a facility deemed impregnable? This forgotten space, dusty and dark, became their secret sanctuary, their workshop, and their escape route. It was a space that offered not just access, but time. Time to plan, to innovate, to meticulously chip away at the very foundations of their confinement. Over many months, they began to gather and fashion the tools of their liberation. A stolen vacuum cleaner motor, ingeniously modified, became a makeshift drill. Spoons, pilfered from the mess hall, were sharpened and hardened. Dimes, nail clippers, everyday objects transformed into instruments of escape. Slowly, painstakingly, they widened the air vent openings in their cells. The relentless scraping, the quiet drilling, masked by the ambient noise of the prison, the blare of accordions during music hour. A symphony of defiance, played in secret. To buy precious hours on the night of their escape, they needed to create an illusion. Guards conducted regular bed checks. So, the inmates crafted realistic dummy heads. Not just simple pillows, but papier-mâché heads, sculptures of soap, toilet paper, paint. The chilling detail? Real human hair, collected discreetly from the barbershop floor. These crude yet effective decoys, placed under blankets, would mimic sleeping figures, delaying discovery. A macabre artistry born of desperation. The ultimate silent witnesses to their bold departure. Their most audacious creation, perhaps, was the makeshift inflatable raft and life vests. From more than 50 stolen raincoats, they meticulously stitched together their vessel. The adhesive? Stolen glue. The method of sealing? The heat from steam pipes in their clandestine workshop. A fragile craft, born of desperation and ingenuity, designed to conquer the brutal, freezing waters of San Francisco Bay. Would it be enough to carry them across the turbulent expanse to freedom, or would it become their coffin? The answer awaited the dawn. The chosen night was June 11, 1962. Fate, or perhaps careful planning, provided ideal cover: a stormy evening. High winds, driving rain, and the roar of thunder would mask the sounds of their final efforts. The guards, lulled by the routine of the Rock, might be less vigilant. The bay itself, normally a formidable obstacle, became a wild, churning canvas upon which their desperate act would unfold. It was a night for legends to be born, or for hopes to be extinguished forever beneath the unforgiving waves. As darkness enveloped Alcatraz, the final, crucial steps began. The widened air vents in their cells, now large enough, allowed them to squeeze through. One by one, they disappeared into the utility corridor, the space they had painstakingly prepared. The clatter of tools, the hushed whispers, the pounding of hearts, all absorbed by the storm outside. They left behind the lifelike dummy heads, silently guarding their empty beds, buying precious moments. The first hurdle was cleared. But many more lay ahead. From the utility corridor, their ascent continued. They climbed through ventilation shafts, a dark, labyrinthine maze leading upwards, towards the roof. Each foot of vertical climb was a victory, a defiant rejection of their steel and concrete confinement. Imagine the muffled sounds of their labored breathing, the scraping of their bodies against cold metal, the distant roar of the storm growing louder. They were moving, inexorably, towards the open sky, towards the vast, unknown expanse of the Pacific. A point of no return. Reaching the roof, they faced another perilous challenge. A 50-foot kitchen vent pipe offered their only route down to the ground. A treacherous slide in the dark, with no safety net. Once on solid ground, they still had one more physical barrier, scaling a 12-foot perimeter fence. Every move was calculated, every grip precise. The cold, wet stone, the biting wind. Alcatraz, a beast of steel and concrete, was fighting back, testing their resolve, their very will to survive. But they were almost there. Near the water's edge, beneath the glow of the prison searchlight sweeping across the bay, they launched their makeshift raft. The freezing waters of San Francisco Bay awaited. Currents famously strong, temperatures numbingly cold. Would their raincoat vessel hold? Would their strength endure? With each stroke of their improvised paddles, they pushed away from the inescapable, towards the uncertain. Into the churning abyss. A silent farewell to the rock, and a desperate gamble against the elements. Did freedom truly await them beyond the horizon? The morning of June 12, 1962. A new day dawned over Alcatraz. The guards, commencing their routine checks, approached the cells of Morris and the Anglin brothers. All appeared normal. Until one guard noticed something amiss. The dummy heads, so artfully crafted, so chillingly realistic, were discovered. Alarms immediately shattered the prison's deceptive calm. The greatest manhunt in modern history was about to begin. The rock had been breached. But where were its vanished prisoners? And what had become of them? The FBI, under the direct command of the formidable J. Edgar Hoover, took immediate control of the investigation. A massive multi-agency search was launched, covering the bay, the coastline, and beyond. Boats, planes, hundreds of agents and police. But the initial efforts yielded nothing. No bodies. No raft. Only the vast, indifferent expanse of the Pacific. The absence of immediate evidence only deepened the enigma. Had they vanished into thin air? Or were the currents simply too powerful, too vast, to yield their secrets so easily? Then, fragments emerged. Days later, a paddle, a crucial component of their improvised craft, was discovered on the shores of Angel Island, just 1.5 miles north of Alcatraz. Shortly after, some remnants of the raincoats that formed their raft were found nearby. And a single life vest washed ashore near the Golden Gate Bridge. These grim findings, scattered across the treacherous bay, seem to tell a definitive story. A tragic tale of hubris against nature. But were they really the definitive answer? Based on the recovered paddle, raft remnants, and life vest, combined with the brutal conditions of the bay, the powerful currents, the frigid water, the sheer distance, the FBI concluded its investigation in 1979. Their official verdict: Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers had drowned. The case was closed. Or so it seemed. For many, however, the lack of bodies, the absence of any further conclusive evidence, left an unsettling void. Could such a meticulously planned escape truly end so definitively, yet leave no trace of its victims? Despite the official conclusion, the mystery endured. No bodies were ever found. This single, glaring fact fueled decades of speculation. Could three men, even with their ingenious plan, simply vanish without a trace? The Anglin family, for their part, claimed to have received Christmas cards for several years after the escape, purportedly signed by the brothers. Cryptic messages from the beyond? Or a cruel hoax? The seeds of doubt were firmly planted, suggesting the FBI's pronouncement might not be the final word. As the years passed, new claims surfaced, adding layers to the enigma. A man came forward, claiming to have picked up three exhausted men in Marin County on the night of the escape, dropping them off further inland. Then, in 1975, another claim emerged, a photograph, supposedly showing John and Clarence Anglin alive and well in Brazil. While never officially authenticated, these tantalizing glimpses hinted at a life beyond the bay. Whispers of survival, defying the cold logic of the official narrative. Could it be true? Decades after the escape, in 2013, the mystery took a stunning turn. A letter, purportedly written by John Anglin, was sent to the San Francisco Police Department. The author claimed Frank Morris had died in 2005, and Clarence Anglin in 2011. He himself, the letter stated, was dying of cancer. "I'm 83 years old and in bad shape. I want to tell you this is no joke." The letter's authenticity remains unconfirmed by the FBI. A desperate plea? A final confession? Or simply another chapter in the enduring Alcatraz legend? So, what became of them? The two dominant theories clash. The official stance posits that the men succumbed to the unforgiving bay, drowning amidst its powerful currents and icy depths. This is supported by the recovered paddle and raincoat remnants. However, the survival theory, bolstered by the lack of bodies, the family's Christmas cards, the unconfirmed sightings, and the perplexing 2013 letter, paints a different picture. A testament to human ingenuity and a defiance of the impossible. Which narrative holds the truth? The evidence remains tantalizingly ambiguous. The 1962 Alcatraz escape, whether successful or tragic, captured the public imagination like few other events. It inspired countless books, documentaries, and the iconic film. It stands as a powerful symbol of human will against insurmountable odds. The U.S. Marshals Service continues to hold an active warrant for the three men, maintaining the possibility that they are still out there, somewhere. The rock may have been designed to be inescapable, but for three men, on one stormy night, it became a launching pad into legend. The mystery, forever unresolved, lives on.